right, hey guys, don't mind my shirt. I don't know what I get on there. Anyway, I just want to share with you. So what I've been doing for my sunscreen, this is like my favorite combo ever, and I just want to share it with you guys. Now, if you haven't watched my videos on the sun, skin health, rabbit holes, I'd encourage you to go listen to it. I don't know, might make things a little more interesting for you. I put out some ideas that are kind of interesting, and you guys know that I'm a connect the dot kind of person. I'm a show me the evidence kind of person. I am someone who really digs when something just doesn't make sense. Like, I may hear something and it may sort of kind of, but then I'm like, I don't know, something's not right, and then I will keep digging and digging and digging and digging, and I come up with some pretty interesting stuff. And again, you know, I can't say that I would, lay down and die, for anything that I believe in. But there's just certain things that just make absolute sense to me and things that don't make sense to me. So anyway, I made a couple of videos. I'm loading one of them right now, or actually I think it just finished loaded, to be perfectly honest. And then I have another one that I'm going to be loading. I loaded them yesterday, and then I forgot that I didn't actually re-listen to them. So I removed them, and I still didn't re-listen to them. I like to listen to them before I post them and just make sure that it sounds coherent and like whatever. But I just didn't have time to re-listen. So I posted the first one again today. I will be posting the second one again today. Anyway, it's interesting, and I don't know, just go listen. So there's a part 1 and there's a part 2, okay? So these are my two favorites. So these are both Badger, and this is the baby one. I've talked a lot about this one. This one has the Roman chamomile and calendula in it, and this one is the one that's in a coconut oil base. So this one is in sunflower oil. This one is in coconut oil. This one is unscented. Now this one has plant extracts in it. It's not like synthetic fragrance or anything. But again, if you want to avoid plant extracts, then go for the unscented one. Okay, so they definitely have that. But this one in the coconut oil is, as far as formula goes, I love this. This is a little bit thicker. This is a little bit thinner and sheerer. But the coconut oil is just the way it's formulated. They nailed this out of the park. This is beautiful too. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I love this. This was actually my favorite. And then I got this one, and I love this. And I generally mix them together. Sometimes I use them alone, but I usually mix them together. And I put my animal fats on first. I put that on my face first. Then I go in with my sunscreen, okay, and love them. Now, because I'm getting old, I'm 57 and I got a little bit of wrinkles, it may have the tiniest bit, you can't see it unless you're like looking in a magnifying mirror. A little bit of white if I don't really rub it in good, like with my knuckles or something. But as far as my face, it does not leave a white cast. Okay, so I can't tell you how many like Reddit threads and how many times I see people saying that they don't like mineral sunscreen because it leaves a white cast. And no, it doesn't. Like, no, the formulas today are so well done, and they're not nano. So they're not using nano. It's just the technology that they have to use micronized, again, it's not nano, so you don't need to freak out about that. They're just really small, but they're still safe enough that they don't actually get absorbed into our body, that it makes for the most beautiful formula. Now, it goes on a little bit white, but you rub it in and it completely goes away. And I have like a light to medium skin tone. I do, of course, get lighter in the winter, a little bit darker, towards the end of the summer. I don't tan, but I do spend quite a bit of time outside. It's inevitable that I'm going to get a little bit of color, but I do protect my skin. I am far more proactive now than I ever used to be. I was always a combination of a little bit lazy. I understood the science of skincare and skin health and sun and all of that. I understood it. But there was something in me that just thought, well, our ancestors dealt with the sun. Like, I don't know, how big of a deal is it really? I do have a terrible history, though. I was a chronic sun worshiper. I've talked about this in my videos, and I talked a lot about it in the other videos too. I would be sensible. Like, I wouldn't sunbathe, and I wouldn't expose myself unnecessarily. You know, would wear a hat and cover up, you know, at the beach and things like that. If I was at the beach like at 5 o'clock at night, I might take my stuff off and get like a little bit of sun on my body, but I was never like, you know, as an adult, I'm talking about as an adult, I wasn't literally like sunbathing, like at the hottest times of the day. I just wasn't doing that anymore, but I would get a little bit of sun. A while ago, I don't know, a couple years ago, I was actually sunbathing when it was like cool, like it was really cool. It would be like 60 degrees and the UV was really low. And I was just like, just getting that, you know, less intense sun on my body, let's say. You know, I wasn't doing it for vitamin D. I wasn't doing it, you know, to get a tan. I was just doing it to get some sunlight, to just, you know, get some light on my body. But again, I was kind of like in the middle. I was kind of in between, you know, kind of the dermatology perspective of, oh my God, avoid the sun, always slather in sunscreen every day. If you're going to be outside multiple times a day, you know, whatever. I wasn't really there, but I wasn't completely on board with the sunlight healing community either, because quite frankly, I think they're kind of nuts, to be honest. So I have always taken kind of a middle of the road approach. And as I get older and as I've done more research and more research and more research, I am now definitely far more proactive with protecting my skin. So I do get out into the early morning light to, you know, get the light in my eyes. I'll wear a tank top or whatever, get a little bit of that, you know, ambient light on my skin in the morning. But I am hyper vigilant now of protecting my skin. And especially because I have the background that I have. I've had a lot of sun damage, a lot of skin damage, had frostbite on my face. So I've had a lot of damage. So I really just can't afford it. These are my favorites. Okay, these are absolutely my favorites. And I have 2 layers of this on and 2 layers of this on, because they're not huge layers, right? I'm not sticking a handful of stuff on my face. And so I do like two reasonable layers of each. So it's like 4 reasonable layers and no white cast at all. None. I did my ears and I did my chest. And so my chest is hit or miss with sunscreen. But what I've noticed, I've been able to do the coconut oil one pretty consistently and it hasn't been bothering me. So I'm psyched about that. My face, there's a little more flexibility. I can put a few more things on my face than I can on this part of my body. So yeah, so that's a really good thing. So I've been super happy about that. I usually wear a long sleeve shirt when I'm outside. I don't wear sunscreen all over my body under my clothes. I know some people do, because clothing does let a little bit of the rays in, especially some of the UVA. But honestly, I'm really not living my life like that. Like, I get it. But I do wash and dry all of my clothes, so the fabrics tend to shrink. So it's a tighter weave. It's not like I'm wearing these loose weave clothing, you know, things. I don't like to wear a lot of polyester, like the rash guard shirts. I will wear them, like if I'm at the beach or something, but because they're just disgusting. Polyester is disgusting, and I don't want that on my body. It's toxic. It's disgusting. And when you sweat, it smells really bad, and it's gross. It's really, really gross, even though I have to say my sweat doesn't really smell bad, but I'm just saying, for like most people, it does. And I don't like to support that. I don't like to support the whole synthetic industry. It just doesn't align with me. So anyway, I just wanted to say, everybody out there saying they leave a white cast, you need to stop saying that, because it's not true. There's a lot of great formulas out there. You just have to rub them into your skin. So what if you have to rub them in an extra 30 seconds or an extra 15 seconds? Like, it's not a big deal. People are just nuts, to be honest. So no white cast at all. I have no mineral powder on today. I'm just going with these today. I was wearing mineral powder exclusively, like, was it last week or the week before? I can't remember. So my skin was just being a tiny bit sensitive, but honestly, it's fine now. So I think it was being a little bit sensitive because we had had a couple of hot days that were pretty hot and humid, and just from all the damage that I've had to my skin, it gets a little sensitive when it gets super, super, super hot and when I sweat. Yeah, I remember when I was going through all the oxalate damage and I was going through massive stuff with that. That was crazy time in my life. Felt like I was being stabbed to death. Like, I'd go for a walk and I literally felt like my whole lower part of the body was being stabbed with needles. Felt like people were just stabbing me with needles. And I had oxalates coming out my nose. I've had them coming out the rims of my eyes. I was in a crazy place. And I don't know if it, like, I don't know how much it damaged my body, to be honest. I did end up in the ER. There were a whole bunch of things going on with me at that point. And I don't know how much of it was just the oxalates, if it was tag teamed with some other things going on. I don't really know. How much did that contribute to my severe histamine issues, the MCAS issues? I honestly don't really know. But where I'm going with this is when my skin gets really, really hot on my face, it gets kind of weird feeling, but I also get it on my body, mostly my torso. When I sweat, my skin stings. It feels like there's acid on my skin, which is really interesting. And that started happening when I was going through all of these oxalate problems. Now, I've been carnivore 10 years. I don't eat oxalates anymore, although I did keep my black tea for the longest time, and I only got rid of that a few years ago. So I did have a tiny bit of oxalate coming in, but now I haven't had any in a couple of years. The only time that I would have any is if I have a bite of something, or if I'm at a restaurant, maybe, I don't know, take a bite of something or whatever that I don't normally eat, but I don't eat them as far as like my diet is concerned. But my skin gets like that on occasion. My face, it just gets kind of weird. It doesn't happen all the time. It only happens once in a while. And I've noticed this summer that my skin isn't doing that as much as it used to. So I'm definitely still in that healing process, because I continue to get better and better. I don't continue to get worse. I continue to get better and better, which is really great. This is why I always tell people, like, when you're looking at diet and you hear of these amazing miracle cures of people healing cancer in 6 months, or people reversing their diseases in, whatever, don't be surprised if that doesn't happen to you, because healing can take a long time for some people. It really depends on how much other stuff we have going on, what else is going on in our life. I mean, it's a really big thing, right? So it's like we can't compare ourselves to others. We have to, like, stay in our own lane. But these are phenomenal. Again, Badger, love them, love the formula. And coconut oil is a little more stable. Okay, so if your skin tolerates it well, it is a little more stable as far as the fat is concerned. This is made with sunflower oil, which is going to be less stable. So you do kind of need to use these up pretty quickly. You do have to use this up pretty quickly too, but the plant oils in general, you have to use them up pretty quickly. They do tend to oxidize, so you don't want them hanging around for like 10 years, okay? But yeah, I do absolutely love them. No white cast at all. And yes, my skin's a bit rosy because I just did my face. I just did my morning face. But yeah, so that's my sunscreen for the day, and I guess I'll be signing up.